this webinar. It's one of our mini Beyond the Basic Ignite webinars that we've had. Before we do jump into this, as normal, I would like to first of all make sure everybody can hear me. If you could please, over on the right-hand side of the screen, if you could just say something in the chat, just to let me know that you're all there, and we'll get started. Awesome, wonderful. Looks like people can hear me. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. Hey, everybody, how you doing? All right, so to really get started, today's webinar is going to be about the suggestions that you can find inside of Ignite. That is one of the best features of Ignite. I'll go ahead and say that. Ignite offers a lot of different features. You have the organization, you have the really easy to read reports, you have the awesome graphs, you have the ease of use that comes along with it. But hands down, one of the best features is going to be the suggestions. And these suggestions are really aimed to make sure that you're getting the most out of your campaigns that you have running on Amazon. And with these suggestions, what they do is they analyze campaigns that you have running, and they help you try to achieve a target ACoS that you specify at a campaign level. And this is really where I want to start today, because in order to get the most out of the suggestions on Ignite, you want to know what your target ACoS is. And this is something that I get asked pretty much on a daily basis is, Edward, what is a good ACoS to have? And honestly, there is no answer for everybody, because your ACoS is really just, your advertising cost of sale. And this is how much you're actually spending to get those sales. And this is all going to be dependent on your product, on your category, on your business goals, and really how much you want to spend on your advertising. So there is no simple answer for everybody that is doing, sponsored product ads. So the first step to make sure you're getting the most out of the suggestions on Ignite is to determine your target ACoS. And the first step of this process is to, first of all, look at your campaigns and look at your products. In order to find out what type of ACoS that you want to have, you first want to find out what the margin is on the products that you're offering. Now, for instance, if I am offering a product and my margin on the product is 20%, and this is 20% after the fees, the shipping, everything like that goes into selling the product. If my walkaway margin is 20%, then I can say that I am okay with having a 20% ACoS, because at that point, that means that I'm break even. However, in a really nice world, I would want to have my ACoS actually be lower than 20%. If my ACoS is lower than 20%, that actually means that I'm making money after that sell, even including the money that I had to put into the advertising. So that is the first step that you want to understand. In order to determine what your target ACoS is, you want to see what your margin is on your product, or your products, I should say, if you have a lot of them in a campaign, and then have an understanding of how much you want to spend in order to really get those products out the door. If your margin is 20%, then your break even would be a 20% ACoS. But anything less than 20% means that you have some money that you're actually walking away with as a profit. But now this does vary still, because if you're in a very competitive market, a lot of times right up front, you can't really just target to have, a very, very slim ACoS at the beginning. If it's a freshly launched product, you may have to put in some more money up front. You may have to be more aggressive in order to get those initial sales on your product. And this is fine. This is just part of the process sometimes. So if you're in a very competitive market, you do want to understand that in order to get a lot of those places on Amazon, if the bids are really high, you may have a higher ACoS to begin with. And that's simply because you're setting your default bids a lot higher and you're willing to spend more money up front. So the first step is kind of already out of the way, and that's really just determining your target ACoS. Now, once you know your target ACoS, you can set a target ACoS at a campaign level at any time. And to do this, you simply go into one of your Ignite managed groups. And this is also called an Ignite managed campaign. But this is going to be, those groupings of those campaigns for similar or the same products. Usually there's like an auto targeting campaign in there, and then also a manual targeting campaign in there. If you want to see a walkthrough about how to make these campaigns, there is a video up here that's just how to create an Ignite managed campaign. Now, whenever you're looking at this page, you can click on any of the Ignite managed groups. We'll just do the outdoor games one. And from here, takes you to the overview page. This is kind of like your dashboard for these campaigns inside of this Ignite managed group. You'll scroll down to the bottom of the page, and here is where you can find that target ACoS. You will also specify a target ACoS during the initial setup of this Ignite managed group. This is part of the setup process. You just put in the target ACoS at a campaign level. Now, for the manual, we have a target ACoS of 30%, and then for the auto, we have a target ACoS of 15%. You can change this at any time. You can always just clear this out and put in something else, and then just click out of it, and that's going to register, and it's going to make that target ACoS change over to 20% instead. Now, the reason why it's so important to know exactly what your target ACoS is and what you want to go after is because after it's been put in at this campaign level, Ignite uses this data to develop those suggestions that you see on your account. Ignite looks at your campaign, looks at its current ACoS, looks at its current spend, and how it's actually performing overall, and will dig into your campaigns and will find those suggestions that will help you lead to this target ACoS. And this means it'll look at like a keyword level and even at a search term level to make adjustments where it knows that you can save money, or also adjustments where you can get better placement and continue to win that positioning and lead to more sales over time. So this is why this is very important to know, first of all, what your target ACoS is and have this in place on the campaign level. Now, if I was being very, very aggressive and I knew that the marketplace that I'm in and the category is very, very competitive and hard to get into, I may want to first start off with a higher target ACoS. And then as I'm getting more sales and I'm building up, a little more traffic on that listing, then I may want to actually lower that target ACoS over time. All right, and so you can change this at any time inside the campaign. Also, during the creation of your Ignite Managed campaign, you can specify this during the initial setup. Now, when you're looking for the suggestions that you have over time, these will develop over just a couple days or so. Ignite will use your target ACoS that you've specified. It will analyze your campaigns and it will provide those suggestions for you. When you're looking at one of your Ignite Managed groups, you will see a couple of the suggestions over to the right-hand side. This side will only show 2 of them at a time. So keep that in mind. This will only show 2 of them at a time. However, if you do accept one, delay one, or reject one, another one will come back into its place. Now, a few things to really touch for this section right here, as we can see, is you'll notice each suggestion has a confidence rating and an importance rating. And the confidence rating is simply showing you how much data Ignite has to back up this suggestion. The more confident that Ignite is in a suggestion, the more data there is to back it up. So that means that there's probably more clicks. So there's also a longer period of time that is actually backing up the change. And it has enough data to say, hey, you need to act on this because we are sure that this is something that you should do. So you'll see that some of them have a very high confidence, and you can adjust this at any time. So you can only see the ones that have a high confidence or even ones that have a very low confidence. You can just drag the sliders right here. So for instance, if you want to see the ones that have a lower confidence, you could do it like this. The ones with a lower confidence, as you can see, they only have, a fewer clicks, only 6 clicks. That is some data, but it may not be enough data to actually use. It does have quite a long time frame though, but still, I usually look for like 10 clicks or more before I really pull the trigger on something. Now, besides confidence, Ignite uses something called importance as well. And the importance is really just to show you, simply that how important a suggestion is. And the higher the importance is on a suggestion, it's simply telling you that there is more money possibly lost, and it's something that you should act on a lot faster. And this is actually a good example right here because it's showing that that your cost is pretty high and you've got a lot of clicks. It's 165 clicks, but it's only got 11 conversions, and it's led to a pretty high spend, and it's actually led to a higher ACoS than what you're currently trying to target. So your target ACoS is 15%, whereas this one is going above that 15%. And it's still getting quite a few clicks. This is why the importance is a lot higher, because it's saying, hey, you should act on this sooner because over time, this is just going to keep on causing that ACoS to go up over time. All right. And so this is just going to be showing 2 suggestions at a time. From here, you can choose to either accept the suggestion. This will go ahead and actually accept it for you. It'll take you through the process of applying the change, or it will just do it for you. It depends on the suggestion. You can also delay the suggestion. This is one of my favorite features right here because whenever you delay a suggestion, it's simply saying, hey, I like the idea, but I don't want to act on it yet. So by saying delay, you can actually choose how many days you actually want to delay it for. So you can delay a suggestion for up to 30 days. And this is wonderful because if I choose 30 days from now, this suggestion will come back with updated information. So it's not going to show the same information I have right here. It's going to reanalyze everything and come back to me with that updated data. Now, if I see something that makes no sense to me, or it may not go along with like, my actual business goals or the kind of the strategy I'm going after, then I can also reject it. This would be more of the case if you're just really trying to target a keyword that you may not convert well for, but you still want to have some type of chance to really get some of that, traffic and clicks. And Ignite may notice, hey, you're wasting a lot of money on this. We suggest you setting this as a negative or lowering that bid. You may just not want to do that because you have some other type of strategy in mind. If that's the case, you can just say reject over to the right-hand side. And so after you do anything with any of these, another one will come in place if you have more available that do meet this up top. So I'm going to say delay this one for 7 days, and then another one came in place for it. Now, I do want to take some time to actually look at a couple of these suggestions before we move on to the next topic. With all these different types of suggestions, you will see many different types come through over time. Some of them will tell you to make, keywords exact negatives if they're getting a lot of clicks but not having any conversions. Some of them will also tell you to move terms from one campaign to another. And that's something else that can really help you to make sure that you're getting the right type of focus on the spend and you have more control on that. And let's see, so there's going to be that one. There's also going to be some suggestions that tell you to increase your bids over time. And this is just usually the case because it's showing that you're doing well with that keyword, but you want to keep that bid competitive so you can make sure you're still able to keep that traffic. You're not going to be outbid in the future. And at any time, if you'd like to, when you're looking at a suggestion, there is going to be this explore detail button right here. From right here, you can see some of the detail. You can see how many clicks it has and how many days it's been, how much you've spent, what the average cost per click is, how many conversions you have, the revenue and the conversion rate as well. But you can also click explore detail. And this will take you to this page. This is actually one that you've probably seen before. I don't know if we're going to be able to do much with it since it is a test account. But this will give you that double axis graph that you can usually see within your account where you can see like the impressions on one side and then the clicks on the other. So you can see how this has performed over time. You can see a type of fluctuation in the spend, or even if it's kind of got a drop off in traffic over time. So from here, you can see more of that. And you can also change the date range up top to kind of see exactly how this keyword or the search term has performed over time. So I can give you a little more information about the suggestion before you decide how to act on it. Now, like I said before, this will only show you 2 suggestions at a time. We have actually developed another page, which is wonderful. And this page will show you all the suggestions available for all your campaigns at a time. And it makes it a lot easier to really sort through them and find out exactly which ones you want to act on, which ones you may not want to act on. So to get to that page, you can either just say view more suggestions, or you can click on the suggestions tab up top in the header. Now, for now, we're just going to say view more suggestions. And this will take you to this page. And this is awesome because I can either choose to see suggestions just for that campaign that I was in, or I can choose another campaign that I want to, do some cleanup on. Or I can also say, you know what, go ahead and show me all the suggestions for all my campaigns at the same time. And this, of course, will give you all the ones that are available. And from here, you can choose to see certain types of suggestion types. You can say, just show me the bid changes, just show me the keyword changes, or the ones that are really leading to a lot of wasted ad spend. And then from there, you can also choose the confidence, like we said before, make it a higher confidence, and let's do like about a midway importance. And then you can just say apply filters. And then from here, you're going to see that same type of setup that we saw before, but you're going to see all the ones that are available and they match the criteria for up top. And from here, you're going to notice also, you can still do this one at a time. You can go in here, you can approve, delay, or reject them if you'd like to. But you can also do multiple ones of these at the same time. If I want to act on, let's just say these 2, then I can just check the box to the left and I could say bulk approve, bulk delay, or bulk reject. I still have the option to delay both of these at the same time. That is really awesome. So I can delay a bulk set of the suggestions for a while, all in the same time limit without having to go through and do that individually. Now, on top of that, if I want to do this for all of the suggestions that I see on my page, I can just click this button to the left, this box, and that will select all of them. And then I can just say, you know what, I'm going to bulk delay these for 1 day. And then there we go. Then they've been bulk delayed. It actually did reset this page back since there were no more that were available. And now I'm on all campaigns. So as you can see, I can see all the suggestions that are available all at the same time. Now, one feature that I really enjoy about the suggestions as well is there is actually an activity tab too. And this comes in handy because it allows you to really see what suggestions you acted on. Because, there's a lot of suggestions. You may get kind of lost up in all that data and not really know what changes were made over the past week or so. So from here, you can actually see the historic data of your suggestions. You can see when they were actually acted on, and you can also see the specs for that suggestion when they were acted on. So I can see the 4 that I just delayed right now, and I can actually see a timestamp, which is wonderful. I love seeing the timestamp. And then I can also see exactly what the suggestion was, what its confidence and importance was then too. I can also dive into the details still if I want to. I can also filter these out by the type of suggestion that they were, whether they were the ones that I delayed, rejected, auto-approved, I'll get to that in just a second, or also manually approved too. So this is really awesome because I can go through and see the ones that I manually acted on, the ones that I delayed, the ones that were automatically approved by a beta feature that we have right now. So this is really cool because in that way I don't get really lost. I don't, get my head spinning and try to remember what I did and have to try to just think really hard about it. I can go back and see the activity log from here. I can also download this as a CSV. This is for those, the type of people that want to save this somewhere so they can look back at it in the future instead of having to come back to Ignite. You can simply download this as a CSV and save it somewhere, and you can open it back up in Excel if you would like to, and that way you can kind of keep a running log of all these if you want to over time. Now, as I said, there is the auto-approved feature. This is something new that we have rolled out. It is still in beta. I do want to say that this feature is still in beta. We are still working on developing this out. But this is really for those types of users that are looking to have more of an automation feature behind these suggestions, so you don't have to go through and manually act on these every so often. So to get to the auto-approved section, I'm first going to go back to my Ignite Manage Groups page. And we'll just go back to the Outdoor Games page. And when you're inside of your Ignite Manage Group, you're going to see this area up here. This is just where you can rename your campaign, and you can also turn on this new feature. The feature is called Suggestion Automation. As I said, it is in beta. So we're still working on this. This is still something that I do say, I really want everybody that's using Ignite to manually accept suggestions first for a while, so you have an understanding of the suggestions. You know what types of changes are being made, so that way you aren't kind of blown away with the ones that are automatically accepted. But if you've approved some of these suggestions or delayed them or really got an understanding of what they were over time, then you can come in, you can turn on this suggestion automation feature. And to turn it on, you have to turn it on at an Ignite Manage Group level, but you can just click the box to the left, the suggestion automation. And then next, you're going to actually choose the threshold for the suggestion automation. And this is just saying Ignite can automatically take action on suggestions that meet these thresholds. So for instance, if I want to make sure that Ignite is only acting on the ones that have a very, very high confidence and importance, I would do something more like this, like let's do 94, sure. And this is just saying anything that has a 94% confidence and a 94% importance will be accepted for me. And even a step further, I can also say, I just want this to run on the weekdays because I'm really busy on the weekdays. And even better than that, you're not going to be out of touch with all this. You're still going to be able to go back to your activity log and see the suggestions that were automatically accepted for you, as well as their history and the timestamp too. But you will also receive an email. This is a really awesome feature. You'll actually receive an email that says, hey, here's the suggestions that were automatically accepted for you. And also, here's some other ones that may not have actually met your threshold. So that'll give you an idea if you need to log back in and actually act on some of those manually yourself. So once again, speaking on the suggestion automation feature, this is something that is still in beta. So definitely accept some of the suggestions first, get a feel for what type of suggestions are coming through. And then I say you can try this feature out if you want to. I just don't really want people to come in here and go immediately to this, because part of the awesome features is that you want to make sure that your suggestions are really in line with your target goals for your campaigns. Now, so that really was just a quick run through of suggestions, how they work and how to really use them, finding your target ACoS, understanding the suggestion automation feature. And if you want to do it manually still, there is doing it by bulk or one by one. And, I think it's one of the best features on Ignite. It's definitely made it a lot easier to manage your campaigns. Of course, you still have the features to do everything manually inside of Ignite if you want to. But this is still something that I think is wonderful about the tool, because it saves you a lot of time. Now, at this time, I will open up the floor for some Q&A. Looks like we had quite a bit of these, so I'm going to try to get through some of these as much as possible. Thank you, everybody, for reaching out to us. This is always awesome. If I can't answer your question here, definitely email our support staff. It's support@stellarlabs.com. They will dig into the question if I don't get to it. And also, they will probably come over to me and ask the question too if they don't know the answer. So never hesitate to reach out to them about anything at all. All right, let's see. All right, so Ryan asked, will you be adding the ability to sort by individual campaigns within an Ignite campaign, such as selecting a manual automatic campaign? This is something that we really haven't built out yet. The suggestions are primarily set up around the manual targeting campaigns. Since most of the suggestions do give you kind of they kind of push you to move the bids around and adjust bids, and that's something you can only really do at a manual targeting campaign. The main suggestions that you'll get for auto targeting campaigns is actually just moving terms over that are working well in that auto targeting campaign into that manual targeting campaign. But this is something we can definitely pass on to the team and kind of see that it's something that we want to add in the future. And let's see. What's the best way to assess or act on a suggestion that has low confidence but high importance? So this is something where you really kind of want to dig into it and look at that explore detail page that I was talking about, because something may just have a high importance because it notices that there's been a lot of spend really fast sometimes. Sometimes you may see a suggestion that is showing that like there's been a lot of spend and it just kind of gets a little worried about that. However, it may not have much confidence because it only has a couple of clicks. Now, if there's a keyword that only has a couple clicks, but those clicks both cost, $3 or $4 a pop, then that's going to lead to, a higher spend. It can lead to a kind of a, really upsetting ACoS too. But you have to keep in mind that one more click that leads to a conversion could possibly lead to a very, very low ACoS because it's actually leading to one of those conversions. So you have to kind of analyze it and see if there's enough clicks and enough data to really act on it yet. Usually my cutoff is about 10 clicks or so. That lets me know that there is enough usable data that I can actually make some type of assumption or get an idea about what I should do next with that keyword. So most of the time, the confidence will just be low because there's not enough clicks or not enough data. So just dive into those, look at the Explore detail, and also look at the next page on the Explore detail page to see how those trends are going. If you notice it just has like a few days of data, that may not be enough to really act on yet. So we want to delay that one for just a few more days to get more clicks and impressions possibly. So Dell actually asked a really good question. Many of the suggestions are archive a certain keyword. Is there any advantage to archiving the keyword, or is another strategy to increase the bid? This is correct. So Ignite is always looking for ways to just make it easier to really read your data as well. And one of the reasons why I'd ask you if you want to archive a keyword is simply because it's not getting anything. It'll ask you to archive a keyword when there's no impressions, no clicks, and no conversions at all. Like it's just zero across the board. So you definitely could attempt to raise the bid. If your bid is well below the suggested bid range that Ignite is showing you, one of the first steps could be to just actually increase that bid first to see if it does give you more traffic and if you actually get some type of impression and some type of clicks that can lead to usable data. I usually do suggest doing that first. However, these suggestions that tell you to archive those keywords can first of all bring those keywords like up to you and actually draw attention to them. Then you can dive into them to see if it is one that you should actually go after. If you are noticing that you have a very high bid and you're still not receiving anything for it at all, you may just not be indexing for it on Amazon. That kind of becomes a whole different situation that we have to kind of dive into separately. And let's see here. So I think someone actually asked, is there a way to undo a previous suggestion? There is not. That is something that we've talked about as well too. But by having the activity log, you can go back and you can see it. Like for instance, like if I had accepted the one that says make a campaign exact negative keyword of Jumbo Outdoor Games, I could say explore detail. So I could find out exactly what campaign that was. So I could go undo that if I want to. I could just say, okay, explore detail. It's for Jumbo Outdoor Games. And it was in the campaign right here. So I could actually go to this one. Like I can actually click on the campaign from here. If it loads, there we go. And then I can go into the negative keywords here, and I could just click the pause and I can just change it to the archive. I could remove that negative keyword that I did place. So there is no way to just do an undo at this point, but it is something we looked at. Right now, it is just going to be looking at your activity log and then just kind of reversing that change that you made. Let's see. And let's see, how can I calculate the best budget? There's not really, this kind of goes back with your target ACoS. There's no real way to have a direct answer for your best budget. The biggest thing I see is like, you can always start off, there's kind of two approaches. You can start off with a lower budget, just start off with something to get it going. If you don't know what your daily budget could be, you can just put $50 or however much you're willing to spend in a 24-hour period. And if you're noticing that you're constantly maxing out your budget, like every day you're hitting that budget, you're hitting it, it's ending your campaign early, and you see within your campaign, and you see that you're actually getting clicks that are leading to conversions, that's when you may want to think about, okay, wait a minute, I'm maxing out my budget, and I'm getting these conversions, it's worth it, my ACoS is really low, then you want to increase your budget. Maybe by another 1/4 of that percent, or just actually going up, doubling it if you want to get more traffic. It is going to be very specific to each category. With the more competitive categories, so the ones that have a lot of traffic, you will have to have a higher budget if you want to make sure it does stay active throughout the day. Just because it's going to be more competitive, it's going to have those higher bids, and more people are going to be kind of all over that category, which will lead to you running out of your budget faster. This is also something to keep in mind when it is coming up on Prime Day or Q4, where there are more people on the site. You will have a quicker use of your budget, so that's when you do want to keep in mind that on days like that, or if you have a very seasonable product, then you want to increase your budget then as well. This would really make sure that you don't have your campaign end early. So the best way is to just kind of start off low or high and then kind of adjust it accordingly. Always just kind of keep track of how much you're spending on a 24-hour period. Let's see here. Another one is how long would you typically expect, or how many dollars spent, would you normally expect the campaign to reach its target ACoS? I have shut some campaigns down recently because they've been running for 5 to 6 weeks and still nowhere near my target ACoS. So this, once again, is going to be a one-off question. We would have to look at your campaign to see exactly what type of traffic you're getting. A lot of times, if you have a very, very low default bid and you have your budget set very, very low, that may not be enough data for Ignite to really make those suggestions. So if you have your campaigns kind of, just like slow rolling and not getting that much traffic at all, Ignite can't make intelligent suggestions because it doesn't have any data to use. Ignite needs data, it needs impressions, it needs clicks, and it needs conversions before it can tell you, hey, you should do this because it's not working, or you should do this because it needs to work better. So it needs data to use before those suggestions can be made. So that's usually the first thing that I'll look at whenever I'm looking at someone's account. So we'd have to really look at that offline. I can't really troubleshoot your account without seeing it, unfortunately, but that's something where you could reach out to our support team and we can look at your account individually. Because that's something that's once again kind of a one-off, because even if you have a very high budget and you have a high bid, it all depends on if you're actually getting those clicks and actually receiving some of that data that Ignite can use to make a better assumption there. Something else is you can also be more aggressive with your target ACoS, and that will kind of make Ignite make more suggestions too, possibly. But you still want to be careful with that because you don't want to undercut and cut down your data and lose a lot of that traffic by lowering your budgets and your bids a lot really fast. Let's see. Let's see, there's one more that I can do. I think I had some more earlier. Yeah, so speaking on these going forward, guys, there will not be an automatic replay sent out to you guys. However, we are going to be doing a blog recap on this. This is going to allow us to kind of go more in depth about this if we need to, but also present this in a readable format as well, so we can kind of delve into this a little deeper and provide more information as we need to. And yeah, so if I wasn't able to get to your question today, guys, just reach out to support@sellerlabs.com. At any time, you can also get on here to the chat bubble in the bottom right-hand corner that has a smiley face on it. And that will get you in touch with our customer success team. and they can help you with any questions that you have. They can actually look at your account too, which is something that is really important when it comes to things like this. We want to look at your account and look at your, like, your actual situation that you're in right now. So reach out to us with any questions. If they can answer it, I'll be glad to answer it as well. And you can also talk to them about our managed service that we're offering too. We actually do have a service where we can kind of take over your account and manage your ads for you. So definitely keep that in mind. You can just reach out to support about that as well. For now, we're hopefully going to have that built out soon. You can just say, hey, I have questions about my account, or hey, I would like to talk with Edward about getting someone to do this for me. So thank you, everybody, for joining today. I do want to thank you for your patience with me going through those questions. If you have anything else, just reach out to us, and we'll speak with you next time. Thank you very much, guys.